utilize automation to scale. That's one learning that Ravi has already shared with us while I was speaking to him earlier on. Thank you for sharing that. But welcome to the session, Ravi. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. It's good to
Great
be
to
here.
have you on board. Yeah, of course, great to have you here. And I'm really excited to delve into a few areas that you've already mentioned that
Okay.
have contributed to your growth. But so, Ravi, why don't you start us off by introducing us into your business and telling us a bit about kind of business you have and the key services you provide?
Yeah. So we run a sales headhunting agency called SGS Consultants based in London, but we recruit primarily in the demand gen, lead gen, account-based marketing space, technology sales, including niches like fintech, HR tech. Um, yeah, so we're like basically an exec search agency in London. That's what I'd say.
Amazing. Awesome stuff. And we know the kind of challenges the industry is facing generally around recruitment and getting the right bums on seat. And so it's a really, I suppose, an in-demand industry you're in right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like it's always going to be, isn't it? Because when you think about it, when a company's already built its processes and systems, like the only thing
Mm,
really left to do is recruit, isn't it? Like when everything's
absolutely.
built, then you just got to get the right people in. Pretty much always, and people always leave, and so I think it's a good industry to be in. I've only started seeing the value in, really seeing the value in recruitment when I started building my own team. Because then I started
Right.
realizing like this is actually when it's your own people, it's a lot harder than when it's someone
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
So
It's with
it's
business as well,
good,
isn't
yeah.
it? People want to see a business on the outside think, oh, running a business is amazing,
Yeah.
it's so really easy, so much fun. Until you start running your own business, then you think, right, okay, there's a lot to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, I think there's a saying like spinning plates, like a lot of spinning plates at the same time. You have to
Yeah,
like wearing a lot of different hats, isn't it? Like especially small businesses, I think.
absolutely.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
it's
But on that note,
I love it.
let's delve onto that point actually. So there are plenty of business owners listening to this who run an SME, small to medium-sized business.
Yeah.
Or there are people that are currently employed thinking about running a business. So as a person who made the jump roughly 2 years ago, where that's the time your business has been running for, what kind of advice would you give to people who are currently employed, doing what they're doing, but also considering on the side, thinking, do you know what, I really want to have my own business. What would be your top three bits of advice to share with somebody that's jumping ship from the employed world to running their own business?
If they're already jumping ship, then I can like give advice. But I've kind of like deterred giving advice to people to like telling them like start a business because it is a lot harder, I think, than it looks from the outside.
Mm,
It is tough, but I'd say if I was giving three tips to someone who's just started a business, I think the first thing I learned was basically this is kind of like an opinion I have, like because of like the modern age, things like Fiverr, you can pretty much get a company to on the internet at least to look like it's worth a million pounds on the internet. You can
mm,
make it look like that. Just the branding. You can go on like you can find sites like Fiverr. Some of the guys on Fiverr are geniuses, like for the amount that they're doing. Um, Second, I'd say is like definitely utilize technology. I think if you're not utilizing technology, you're basically just going to be like every other business. I think that's where we have like kind of a competitive advantage. Like you mentioned, like automation, things like email marketing. You have to learn about that stuff nowadays because
mm,
if when you start a business, you're going to realize like you're competing against. It's you with the computer pretty much for most people competing against a building of 1,000 people. So you got to think, how do I actually get leverage? It's all about leverage at the end of the day. Like, so I'd say the best way to get leverage would be to use automation. So instead
mm.
of you sitting there sending 50 emails a day and burning out and needing to go for a tea or something like that, like which I think I think most people are like. Well, I'm definitely like that. And then like I'd say use some sort of automation. Like there's apps like Instantly.ai is a very good one. I can send out thousands of emails a day if you get good at it. It's like learning. It's just like you learning any tool. Like
Yeah.
then third, this is if someone that has a good job right now and wants to start a business, I'd say the third thing maybe make a plan. I'd say that's something I actually didn't do, and there's many times I've finding it impossible to go to bed at night when I started this business because I had no idea what I was going to do. No,
Yeah.
no, sorry, actually, I'd actually change the third one to be honest. But if I'm allowed, like, I'd
Yeah,
say
go for it.
remember this is actually what I'd say. I'd say business is more about like learning
Mm,
things than I initially thought. Like I always thought business was get really good at a job and then just make that job and do that job in a business. But there's a lot more to business than doing the job.
Oh yeah.
it's like a whole other thing, like a whole other like skill set,
Whole
basically.
universe of things that you probably didn't predict. And
Yeah,
yeah,
literally.
I mean, that's a really humble experience to share in there, and I think there are plenty of people who probably experience that, but just probably wouldn't come to terms and admit it, which I think is so honest and authentic of you to share that. It's not easy to jump ship, but I can imagine when you are making those sales and placing those candidates in those roles, there's probably no other feeling like that. It's probably like almost like
Yeah.
a footballer scoring a goal. Is that probably how you feel when you complete a deal, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's I'd say definitely it's way more rewarding. The start is a lot harder, but it is definitely more rewarding. I think I've obviously got most of my friends that I still am in touch with. They have regular jobs and they're always like complaining it's Monday, whereas I'm a little bit looking forward to Monday. I kind of love waking up, going to work. It's
Yeah.
very like rewarding. So
Mm,
I think that's something it's pretty much like priceless. To be honest, I wouldn't give it up for anything. So.
imagine. So talking about learning, you've been in business for 2 years now. Um, what would you say are the top two things you learned about having your own team of people
Mm.
in your business?
Yeah. So the first couple people I got actually didn't work out,
Mm,
and it wasn't their fault. It was completely my fault. So I would hire people, um, and pretty much just I wouldn't be delegating in the right way. There wouldn't be the leadership just wouldn't be there. So I feel like that's something I've learned about hiring people is that I think the key to working with people, especially for me, is over
mm.
communication. So basically, we use this tool called Loom. I'm not sure if you're aware of Loom. Um,
Is it a video recording tool or something?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like a video recording tool, yeah, where you can record like your screen.
Mm,
So
yes.
yeah, so when you have like a task, I've i- I've learned that like you have to really take time to like train people. So I've started making looms of exactly how I would do things, and then sharing the loom with
Mm,
them, and then reviewing, having like meetings in the morning, in the afternoon, just to check on progress. So I think
brilliant.
the thing that actually made that a lot easier was reading this book, The E-Myth, that I was speaking to
Mm,
you about earlier. The E-Myth. It's
yes.
my favorite book, like best business book I've ever read. I've read it like 3 times.
E-Myth, yeah, but Michael Gerber.
Yeah, yeah, Michael Gerber. It's
Awesome.
the entrepreneur myth. Like, so it basically
Yes.
says in business there's it kind of follows like the McDonald's kind of
Mm,
like method of basically you want to make every role so easy that someone can come in and exceed it without having too many skills. Because the thing is,
yeah.
if your roles, for example, like a 360 recruitment role, where you basically a guy or lady like a 360 recruiter, anyone has to cold call a client, win the account, negotiate terms, sign them, then make a market map, like find the right candidates, interview them, convince them to join to interview with the company, get them get them over the line. That's what you would call like a very like high skill role. So
Yeah.
like because you have a lot of stuff you have to know and you have to know the right terminology. So if you want to hire someone like that for that high skill role, you're going to have to pay the premium. They're going to be on a
Yeah.
huge base. They're
Mm,
going to have to make loads of deals. The margins get thinner. Whereas if you follow like the McDonald's system where there's a very kind of like you can divide it up into little people. In McDonald's, they have like one
of course,
guy
yeah.
puts the pickle. They have like one guy just to put the pickles. I've heard. So, you know what I mean?
One person
That's
that is sitting and
simple.
pressing the coffee
Yeah,
machine
yeah,
button to
just
get
one.
coffee out.
Yeah,
And hey, look, no disrespect to those roles, but it's a tremendous business model they've created. And the good thing
yeah,
is, it's a perfect business for youngsters to start working in, learn and master their trade, and then move on with that experience into other
yeah,
roles,
yeah.
isn't
Yeah, yeah, there's nothing wrong with McDonald's. I think most, yeah, most youngsters do that. I used to work in a co-op for years. Like,
it? Mm,
it's all right. Like, but it's just that the business model means that because employees can't fail. Basically, they
yeah.
like it means like if you have a team of like 5 people, if somebody leaves and that crushes your business, you don't have much leverage. You're actually kind of in a position of your business is more fragile than it looks, even if it's making money. Whereas
Mm,
if you have the systems, the training in place, all the processes, that if someone leaves for whatever reason, youngsters as well, they might go to uni or travel, holiday.
of
If
course.
someone goes on holiday and your business is suffering, that's not even a nice place to work, is it, culture-wise?
No.
Because you're telling them you can't go on holiday, like you can't spend the money you've made doing
Yeah,
what you want. Like, you need to
stay
be
here and
here, or
work.
else, yeah, that's basically like negligence, isn't it? Like that means the
Yeah,
company's not going to work. So, but
it's not gonna work.
yeah. So
Yeah, so it's kind of so from your perspective, the lessons around people is to kind of build the systems for them to come in and run. So it's a win-win for both. They win because they know exactly what they're doing, how they're doing it, and they can go on holiday. And you win because if they do want to leave, that you can easily replace it because it's
yeah,
a, the knowledge is in the business, not necessarily on the people.
yeah, and the product is like the service level stays high as well.
Mm,
If you have a bunch of like specialists, so for example, in recruitment, we have people just as like a marketing sourcer. So they just make like it's called a marketing sourcer. I'll explain why. It's a bit different. Like we followed this other recruiter. He's called James Blackwell. He runs an agency that I know. And then basically the marketing sources just basically build lists of candidates and reach out to them, and that's their just role, you know. But it's
gotcha.
a kind of role where you can get trained up to do this at a very high level. I'd say within about a month, you know. But so if they leave for whatever reason, like I know it's a free country, you know, people are allowed to leave roles. Like I don't, if you get annoyed at stuff like that, then I think the problem is with the business.
Yeah,
You know, it
yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Then like, but yeah. So then we have like SDRs, for example. It's all just split up into like very like four basically like parts rather than
Yeah,
someone doing the whole process, which I think makes it a lot easier to manage. I
yeah.
don't think I'm saying anything unique. I feel like maybe other recruiters would be like, yeah, like we do that as well. It's pretty
No,
standard,
it's
but
important. It's something important for other people that are not in recruitment to know about, hey, look, how can they apply that learning to their job? But
mm,
looking forward into the future. Now, I know you don't have a crystal ball. I don't have a crystal ball, but let's predict the future and let's think about your business, SGS Consulting, consultants rather. And could you maybe share what would you say are your top two challenges that you reckon you're going to face over the coming year? Now, let's park the status of the economy and the political climate, all that stuff aside, because we can't really change that ourselves as SME business owners. But more from an internal self-reflection perspective or from your business perspective, what would you say are the top two challenges you're likely to come across
top
this year?
two challenges this year.
Hmm.
Oh, this year. Okay, okay. Hmm. This year seems pretty good. The market seems, I think, quite strong. I'm not sure. I'd say the biggest challenge I'm facing at the moment would be like, know how I said about dividing the roles and so you can get
Hmm.
people and they can like leave, but like replacing my role, I think in the future, this isn't this year though. I'd say this is probably, I'm still very happy like doing this, but I think in like 5, 6 years, I'd probably want to take just kind of phase myself out of the business and see that I've built a business that can like just run itself.
Yeah, building
That
a
is pretty
business
much
that
my
can work
goal.
without you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the goal. That is going to be the hardest part, I think, because I don't know. I've read all these entrepreneur books and I've never even seen that part in them too much. I've seen it in Built to Sell actually, um,
Hmm.
where he basically made his two longest standing employees into their like VPs to run it while he wasn't there. So that's probably one. And the next, that's it. Just growing, man. Just growing the business. I think just in general, just staying motivated.
Sounds
I'm
like a
I'm in a
good
really
challenge.
good place. I don't know. I haven't got the right answer for that probably. Two challenges. There definitely are things I'm thinking, but
Well, look, that's it. That in itself is a challenge as well. Just growing the business this year to whatever goal you've set, revenue wise or whatever that may be,
yeah.
and then
Taking a
thereafter,
holiday.
find
That's
yeah,
maybe
take
one.
a
That's
holiday,
actually one challenge I've been wanting to do for a while. There's no time. Like
and I
I think
suppose
that's what
sharing
people
that
don't
challenge out
realize.
there.
Like
Yeah, exactly. And suppose sharing that challenge out there in a business community is quite enlightening, not enlightening, but it's quite a real piece of advice that hey, look, if you are going to be running a business, it'd be difficult to go away for 2 or 3 weeks because someone's going to run it while
impossible.
you're away. And hey, look, that's
Yeah.
in itself probably a 2024 challenge. Where are you thinking of flying off to?
That's a good question. I was thinking maybe like Barcelona, somewhere close, you know. But yeah, you're right. You're right. It is a big challenge. I think I didn't think that before, but I think most small medium business owners probably think the exact same thing. That I actually can't go on holiday because
Mm,
if you go on holiday, a lot of the things don't run without me here. So I'm still at like it's called like in the E-Myth they call it like adolescent stage. I think where you have a couple employees, but the business can't run without you. Like
yeah.
it's like an adolescent business, whereas like a mature business is like a bigger enterprise. Like people, you can leave pretty much and come back, and it's still working. Which in my
Exactly.
head, I imagine that, and it's like a dream. Like
Gosh.
I just think about it, but time
Hey,
always
look,
moves over
you've
time.
grown so quickly over the last 2 years, and no doubt you're going to keep growing, and no doubt you're going to be going on plenty of holidays as well. Barcelona, not too far away. You can always take your laptop there as well with you in the plane. Planes these days have
Yeah, I
Wi-Fi,
know. I could. I
so
could. You're
plenty of
right.
opportunity for you. But Ravi, it's been absolutely wonderful speaking to you, and some great lessons you've shared along the way, which is going to be important to people. I mean, encouraging people to utilize platforms such as Fiverr to get their show on the road initially is a great way of working.
Yeah,
And
really
of
powerful
course,
stuff there.
business is a huge learning journey, which you've had plenty of learnings yourself. So
Yeah,
thank you very much, Ravi, for your time. Really enjoyed
yeah.
it. And hopefully our paths cross again in the future, maybe speak again later. See how you're getting
Of
along.
course.
Take care, my friend, and all the best.
Thank you.